Welcome, folks, to the Seahawks PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks-only gambling show in the universe, the multiverse, the whole thing already. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by the Princetonian of parlays, the man on the lam, on the run in Iowa, Mr. Wilson Kahn, coming in hot from a hotel room in Iowa. Wilson, what's up, dude? How's the, you crossing the country, my man, but still gracing us with your presence to talk Seahawks gambling on the Seahawks Podcast Network stream. How are all things, bud?
Yeah, it's great to be here. With so many hours on the road, I got a lot of time to think about Seahawks bets and all that. So I think I'm ready to get going and talk some bets for this upcoming game.
Yeah, man. So for the folks who are just tuning in, maybe the first time for this, because we've only done a pilot and then one episode, so we're missing our third leg here of the stool. So Adam, he is actually driving cross country too, maybe two ships passing in the night there. He's dropping stuff. He's got the bittersweet travel of dropping his daughter off at college for the first time, and then bringing a bunch of her stuff back to the dorm room. So he's doing that. He's doing that dad duty right now and doing the good dad stuff. So he won't be joining us for this particular prop cast. However, to remind folks, every single week we thought, hey, we love the Seattle Seahawks. We fancy the fact that you could place, wagers through your phone nowadays. Wilson almost can. He's still 20 years old, be turning 21. What, Wilson, 3 months now, 4 months? What do you got?
5 months.
5 months. Okay, we're counting down with bated breath. We're waiting for you to place your first legal bet. And we figured, hey, would it be nice to give folks and 12s a new angle so we could look at games and discuss prop bets, parlays, money lines, and educate people along the way? And we're also going to gamify the thing and keep track of it throughout the year. Now, with all that said, with all these things said, the preseason's a little bit of a dry well, Wilson. There's not too much that we actually can gamble on. In our first episode, we covered some of the season bets we liked. And coming into this Dallas game coming up on Friday, there's literally, I think, only 3 wagers that are available on the FanDuel app. So we'll canvas those. But before we do that, there was a particular bet you brought up last time, and this one is kind of the talk of the town, if you will, the Emerald City talk of the town. And the idea is, who will be the starting quarterback, not for the preseason game, but for game 1 of the regular season? Will it be Drew? Will it be Geno? Will it be Jacob? We know it won't be Jacob. And the odds might have fluctuated a little bit with the whole COVID, and then is Drew bouncing back? So, where was it and where are we now on that particular bet?
Yeah, so as of 5 days ago, it's shifted a little bit. Lock has moved up from plus 135 to plus 90. And then Geno has moved from minus 175 to minus 270. So this comes, of course, with the news of Drew Lock getting COVID and ending up missing the game against the Bears. This, I think, was probably published literally the morning of that game. Yeah, this hasn't been updated since the Bears game. But I think overall, it's probably a reasonable place to put the line. I don't know if I'd put money on it, but
and these are kind of special bets, right? You're not going to find these on FanDuel or DraftKings. You got to probably go to sportsline.com and likely, log in and maybe become a member to access this bet. However, that move for Drew to start the season to go to plus 190, if I did have access, I think I would throw a few shekels on that at this point, because Coach Carroll today, I know you've been on the road all day. Did you see Coach Carroll's comments, alliteration aside, today, young Wilson?
Yeah, I think he basically said they're going to take all the time they need to decide the quarterback. I don't know much more than that, but if you have something to add.
He did say that, but he also, Greg Bell tweeted, he also did say that the quote was something around the impact of, we have 2 number ones. He was like, Geno's been a pro essentially about the whole process. And then he comments on Drew's performance and practice, and how good he's been doing it in those things. He said, we basically have 2 number ones. I get the feeling that the tide might be turning a little bit. And I also think this might have been a long, smooth play by Coach Carroll to do what's right and professional to a veteran. So it's not egg on Geno's face, but I kind of starting to get the feeling that the play all along was that Drew was going to start this thing from Jump Street, and the COVID thing kind of derailed it, but now he's back. What do you think about that? Am I off my rocker, or do you think I'm onto something?
I think it's interesting. I'll have to watch that press conference and get caught up. But Geno did not play well against the Bears. I kind of noticed in the press conference, Pete was sort of quick to blame the receivers for just not catching the ball. But yeah, he hasn't. I mean, he hasn't raved about Geno at least as much as he has in the past. So I don't think that's too far fetched. I mean, Drew Lock will also get the chance to go up against a ton of backups on the Cowboys because Mike McCarthy said they're basically not going to play anyone.
Yeah.
So he'll have a chance to show out. And maybe, hey, I don't know why Jacob Eason isn't in this bet, but after what I saw against the Bears, I might be inclined to put some dimes on that.
Yeah, Jacob Eason, the funny part was, and I didn't think, I personally did not think Geno played very, very bad. He didn't have a good second half of his first half. However, like people have talked about it ad nauseum now, like they dropped the balls, but I still don't get the wow or the sizzle or the desire to watch Geno Smith start for our Seahawks. It's just like, I'd rather just, again, see what we got. I think Drew is a better quarterback. And if we go 3-14 with Drew Lock, then so be it. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's not a terrible outcome for this year. And if he's good with this surrounding cast, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 wins. And then you're staring at a playoff bid potentially. So we've canvassed that already. But you were talking about the Cowboys. So, not a lot of picks this week, but why don't we get to them? Now, interestingly enough, the thing I did see was when this line opened up, it was started at Seahawks giving 5.5, and now it's down to Seahawks only giving 4. So are there any particular things across the money line, the line, the over under, things that you're gravitating towards as out of what we can play, anything you think is the best of the best?
Honestly, I don't hate the Seahawks money line here. Last I checked, it was minus 155, which probably isn't the best deal, but the Cowboys are probably even worse than the Seahawks in the preseason, which I think is hard to do as of late. They did win last week, but with basically everyone sitting and the Seahawks, the quarterbacks especially still having a lot to play for. I just think there's probably more people on the Seahawks who are going to care about the game, and there's going to be more ones playing as well for them. So I think the money line is a safe bet here. I think it's probably hard for the Seahawks to just manage going 0-3 to preseason. I know that doesn't really factor into what's going to happen in the game, but it's hard for me to imagine, I guess.
Yeah, the only piece that I have to, let the folks know is that what I'm staring at right now has the money line up in a negative way to minus 200. So, where again, to remind folks, yeah. So before, if it was minus 150, that means, you're betting 15 to win 10 or 150 to win 100. At minus 200, you've got to lay $200 to win 100 or $20 to win 10. So Wilson, looks like you're backing away from that one if it's a little too rich. Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely.
At minus 4, it's plus 4 for Cowboys or minus 4 for Seahawks, and that's just minus 110. Your standard Vegas vig there. And of all these, man, the over under is at 37.5, and that's at minus 105. That's the over. I kind of like the over, but for the same reasons you stated. Number one, I'll give a second reason on top of it. The first reason is what you stated. We're going to play more starters and more second tier quality players than Dallas is going to for a majority of the game. And Drew's going to play a lot. Cool. And then when it's not Drew, it's going to be Geno. So we're going to go back to that thing where we had the first game where it's like, okay, you could say what you want about them as quarterbacks. There's still 2 starting caliber quarterbacks in the NFL who are going to be going against dudes who are not. So points should be had. So that's one thing right there. The other thing is with the way our special teams played, I'm hoping beyond hope, well beyond, some money on gambling, that our special teams gets cleaned up a little bit because it was abysmal versus the Bears. Was not great versus the Steelers either. So hopefully third time's a charm when we get it a little bit better, but I'm not betting that it's going to be very crystal and very sharp. And we're missing a lot of tackles. So we're missing tackles. We're playing sloppy on defense, and our special teams is not tackling well. That should add up to some easy points, even if it's by 3s, that Dallas should be able to chip away at. So I like that, man. 38 points total. I could easily see the Seahawks taking this game 27-17, 27-14, and smashing that over and, making a little change on the way there.
Yeah, I also will amend what I said earlier that I don't think the Cowboys players care less about the game. I just think that when you have bubble guys fighting for a roster spot and, players who are going to make the roster fighting for starting jobs, I think the players who are fighting for starting jobs are probably going to just play better simply by the fact that they're NFL starters, which I think is pretty self-explanatory, but
No, for sure. It's like I always get mad. I'm a big baseball guy, and I understand all the metrics about taking your pitchers out and all that jazz. But I still it's like, okay, they're at 92 pitches entering the seventh, and you yank out your starter. I get pissed because I'm like, wait a second. I don't think injuries have gotten better with all this curbing of what they try to do to prevent injury. In fact, I think there's maybe even more injuries now for pitchers. And your starters in baseball are your starters for a reason. They were the best dudes in the elite of the elite of the elite, besides closers who are really, true specialists. They're your best dudes. So same thing. It's like they are that much more cut above. Therefore, they have the best opportunity to win that next battle. Let them start the seventh inning. Let them go, dare I say, over 100 pitches. Like, I know that'll make some sabermetrics people mad, but that's okay. And beyond that, man, the only other one is just the line, right? A -4. So I guess between the two, would you rather bet Seahawks giving 4, or we're not taking Dallas here. Would you rather bet the over, or would you rather have the Seahawks giving 4, only a small smidgen? It's either -105 or -110 respectively.
I think I'd probably go for the over-under. The Seahawks are 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 preseason games. So, and we know the Seahawks, just anecdotally are not very good against the spread in general, regardless of whether they win or not. And 4 points has me a little nervous. So I'd probably stick with the over there.
Yeah, I think I think I like it better too. That's the one I would go to this week. And anything in preseason is like betting on the NHL, where it's like at some point in the game they pull the goalie and that empty net goal could really screw up any gambling. And so it's too wishy-washy to understand. Like really focus on what can happen there. But the over, that's a fun bet to begin with. Watch watch the hose do his thing. Watch him go out there and hopefully score. We have got to invert this thing, man. Score a couple of touchdowns early, or the first 2 drives, put up 10 points in the first 2 drives. It's been a barren preseason. We got to right that ship. So it'll be fun to see if we could do it. Well, man, any other thoughts about this particular game or any other season long ones or anything that popped up since we last chatted?
Well, I did mention 2 weeks ago when we had our first episode that Ken Walker for Offensive Rookie of the Year at +1,000 was something worth looking at.
Yeah.
I really hope none of you put money down on that because I don't know. Pete says it's a little hernia thing, so he'll probably never play football again.
Yeah. Yes, exactly right. No, it's just a flesh wound, right? So yeah, a little hernia thing. And but they did say today, Pete said today, the expectation is week 1 that he will be back. With that, it's not, I don't think Pete out and out lies, but he out and out lies at the podium sometimes. So, so it just is what it is. It just, he's been doing it long enough that we really can't take that word too seriously because he's coy and I think he enjoys being coy. But with the injury update that I can hopefully take on the surface and we see, KW the third back hopefully by week 1. And even if it's limited, that's okay. DJ Dallas has had a great preseason. Homers look good, and a healthy Penny. Let's go. It'd be a lot of fun. So cool, man. Hey, so Wilson, dude, enjoy the rest of your road trip. Enjoy Chicago tomorrow. Enjoy the time, out there with your family. Getting on the road's a lot of fun. And your trip back to Princeton, we'll get this thing going. And for the folks that are listening for the first time or second time, when you hear this the next time, it's going to be the preview before the Broncos game. And that's going to be different, right? That's going to be us looking at the potpourri of parlays that are available to us. And just going into the nitty gritty of the matchup itself. What do we like about the matchup and why are we selecting certain things over other things that we think will come true? And I'll give a sneak peek for you. I've been saying it since the day, unfortunately, we traded Russell Wilson. There will be some line of Russell Wilson to score a touchdown, not throw a touchdown. There'll be some line of Russell Wilson to score a touchdown. I will be taking that bet, not because I want to bet against the Seahawks, just because I think Russell Wilson's going to want to score a touchdown, and he's going to do everything he can to get in the end zone with his own 2 feet. So that's a little sneak peek, as they say in the industry, Wilson.
Yeah, I'll give a sneak peek too. I know I made the mistake in the first preseason week of betting against the Seahawks, and I will not be doing that in week 1. So that's just a little hint of what's to come.
There you go, dude. I love it. I love it. Hey, for the folks out there, 5 days a week, 5 unique shows a week now on the Seahawkers pod stream, right? So out on YouTube, youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast, or anywhere you got ears for your audio, your Spotify, your Apple, your Amazon, everything else, just go search the Seahawkers podcast. 5 shows a week, this one being one of them, 5 unique shows a week. We do the preview show with What If. We do the post-game reaction show, live reaction show. We do 3 in, 3 out. And of course, the flagship show with Brandon and Adam, the 2 guys that got you here in the first place, doing what they do every single week, because and we call it the flagship show. And we mean it because it's still the best of the bunch. It's still the cream of the crop out there. So hit the button. It all helps out. Spread the Hawkra. Get it to different folks out there. And Wilson, with that, man,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.